2-length push over bump for 80.
Hello and welcome to the 2016 Beatsons Building Supply Mull Rally. This weekend, crews will tackle a challenging 18 stages which will take place over 3 legs, 2 of which will be in the dark. The tarmac roads of Mull are iconically known for being twisty, narrow and bumpy. With entries filling up in record time, it just shows how popular this unique event is.
Starting in 1969 as a one-night road rally, the Mull Rally would instantly become a hit with crews from near and far. But it would be over 20 years later when we saw the closed road stage rally format of today make its first appearance. The picturesque island certainly comes with a reputation, its beautiful scenery often hiding the tough nature of the stages, as many have found out and many more will. A week of activities on the island kick off the events, but the first chance to see the cars would be at scrutineering, this time taking place a little earlier to accommodate a shakedown stage. Callum Duffy comes to this event with the number 1 on his door. 9 times winner of the event, he would be looking to make it 10. The new car for this year's event was expected to go well.
Big night, you know, and very important to get on a good start, you know, so everybody will be thinking the same thing, so it's, you know, it's a bit of a sprint nowadays, so you'll just be flat out from the start. Potentially changeable conditions, it's hard to say, so we've picked a tyre that just will see us easy enough, so.
John MACCRONE was another previous winner here on Mull, out in an R5 Fiesta this weekend, the same as he had been using on the Scottish Rally Championship all season. But this would be his first time in the car on tarmac.
Yeah, I'm quite excited. As you say, I've been driving an R5 all this year, so I've not driven one on tarmac yet, so it's going to be fun getting used to it. But no, I'm really excited. So.
David Bogie makes his first appearance on the event. A previous Scottish and British champion, he was expected to go well. But with the weather looking like it would rain, the Mark II Escort probably wouldn't be the ideal car for this weekend.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, it's taken me 10 years to get here, but now I'm here with the Mark II, so really looking forward to it. So the unknown now is, of course, the weather. It's looking like the rain's going to come in and we're on a hard slick on the rear, so we'll keep our fingers crossed it stays dry. The
problems would start for some before the rally even began. Jonathan Mounsey would only complete a few runs of the shakedown stage before a broken transfer box threatened his event. But with the help of fellow competitors, he made it to the start.
Third run on shakedown, we broke the transfer box on the start line. So, yeah, 11 o'clock this morning we weren't doing it. And it's the only spare part of the transmission we didn't have. But our fellow competitor, Tommy Graham, he had a transfer box and he said, "There you go, lads." So that's awesome. He's left himself without a spare, and my lads have worked all day to fix it.
Day 1 would consist of 5 stages, and of course all in the dark, starting with the Mishnish Loch stage and completing over 20 miles before the first service of the event.
On to the first of the stages, and it would be the early lead for John MACCRONE and Stuart Loudon. The conditions had changed quickly, and that meant that tyre choice would be a bit of a lottery in the opening pair of stages.
John, you're currently 19 seconds up on Callum. That's after 2 stages. Things must be going well for you.
Aye, it's been a good start, I suppose. It's very slippy on the first stage, and you know we didn't probably have the ideal tyre on for either stage. It was a kind of compromise for both. So. Yeah, it's a good start, clean start, so that's nice for a change for me.
Callum and Ian Duffy wouldn't be happy with their start to the event. The setup wasn't right and the car would need some work in service, but they do manage second place at this stage.
So Callum, that's 2 stages done. Are you happy with how everything's going?
No, not really. The first stage, it was our tyres didn't get up to pressure, so it was a skating rink, but I think it was the same for everyone. Second stage there, the car's way too hard, you know, it's following the road way too much, so we need to do a lot of playing about with the car to get it the way I want it. And I knew when I was driving it, I couldn't drive it anywhere near as hard as I wanted to drive it, but we're here, we can still progress. That's the whole point of this weekend, is to get it the way we want it. We're on Irish settings just now, this is not Ireland, so totally different.
previous winners of the event, Daniel Harper and Chris Campbell, didn't feel things were going as well as expected. But the Times were saying otherwise. Third place for the pair, but it wasn't without its problems.
So Daniel, that's the first 2 stages out the way for tonight. How's it going?
Aye, not just as well as we expected, but very, very slippy on the first one. Start the second one was very slippy. We hit the bridge on the first one halfway through and smashed a wheel. Second one we ended up in the ditch going up the hill road, so yeah, we've had quite an interesting time.
Harper's problems would be nothing compared to Paul McKinnon, the Subaru driver going off in stage 1 and losing a handful of time but no damage. He would go on to record the fastest time on stage 2, but way down in 97th overall place.
50. Watch 3 left over bump into flat 3 left 70. 3 right crossing over crest 120 to 5 right minus narrow at sign.
So Paul, it's maybe not been the start you wanted. There's still a long way to go. What happens?
Oh, just on the first one there, not really even taking any chances, just got a bit of black shiny tyre and just with cold tyres, just been a bit ring rusty, just caught me out. Maybe, you know, if it was a few stages in I was doing a bit sharper, but you know, that's the way it goes, you know, and as I say, it is a long way to go, and just saying to Daniel there, for all the disappointment the first stage, enjoyed the last one, you know, just tootled down there, got into a bit of a rhythm and, you know, enjoyed the car, so that's the bottom line, that's what we're doing, just enjoying the rally now, a wee bit of pressure off and just see where it takes us, quite good, so such is life, we'll crack on though.
Lewis Gallagher and Sam Bould would be happy with their start to the event. 4th place at this stage and starting to get into a rhythm quickly.
So Lewis, that's 2 stages down. Tell us a bit about them.
The first one's very, very slippy, as I'm sure it is for everyone, but the second one's a lot drier, so it's a lot faster than that one, so yeah, it's all good.
You're quite happy.
So far.
Derek McGeehan and Arthur Kieran's had been to Mull twice and failed to finish twice. This time they would be going for 3rd time lucky. Things felt good in the car as their confidence was growing.
Derek, your times so far tonight have been impressive. How's everything going?
First stage is very slippy, same for everybody, but I just couldn't commit. It was so slippy, and we did really take our time. Felt I had a bad time through it. I don't know what the times is, everybody else, to tell you the truth. And with a good run, felt that I had a good run through the second stage. It was much drier and more grip, so I had more confidence.
With the transfer box on loan and the lights now fixed, things were looking good for Jonathan Mounsey and Richard Wardle. They struggled in the tricky opening stage just like many others, but felt the pace was good on stage 2.
Jonathan, how's everything going?
It's gone all right. I think we had the wrong tyres for the first stage because we all thought it was going to be dry and it was proper raining in there. But down that second stage, it was all really working. Yeah.
So you're happy?
Yeah. Better than it was earlier today anyway. So.
A new car this weekend for Tristan Pye and Andrew Falconer. With just one previous event in the car, things were still taking time to get used to. And after stage 2, the pair lie in 7th.
So Tristan, that's 2 stages done. It's a new car tonight. How's everything going?
We struggled a bit on the first stage, but I put that down to tyres. I'm hoping we have a better time in that one. So we'll just have to wait and see.
You got much to do at service?
I hope not. I hope it's just to check over and make sure everything's still tight.
James McGillivray and Ian Fraser have to call on the reserve car to get to the start of the event this year. James's 2005 event-winning car, no less, but the competition this weekend was tough, and 8th place would be theirs for now.
So James, everyone we spoke to tonight, they're complaining about problems with tyres and finding the first stage really slippy. How did you get on?
Yeah, I think the first 3 miles of the first stage were slippy. The next 2 were all right, and then at the end was very, very slippy. But that last stage was, well, I can't complain. I think it was good.
No problems for John Cope and Clive Molyneux in the opening stages. They have a good steady run to make it back to service with 9th place overall.
Tonight then?
Yeah, as everybody's probably told you, that first stage was extremely slippy, but the second stage was okay. Yeah, no mistakes, and we're here, and yeah, we'll see how we go.
It will be a great start for Stephen Thompson and David Crosby, proving their seeding of 43rd on the road wrong, with a fantastic run to 10th place after stage 2.
So Stephen, that's 2 stages finished tonight. How's it going?
That second one was great. Totally that we struggled in the first one. No grip, nothing. Second was really good, felt really good. We caught past the Subaru guy behind us. So, no, it was good. It was good. Hope the weather continues now the way it is.
The stages would already be catching a number of people out. Brian Watson and Caroline Will would be among those caught out in the slippery opening stage, hitting a wall. Thankfully, apart from lost time and a little cosmetic damage, everything was okay.
What happened?
Lack of ability, I think. Overconfidence in cold tyres maybe as well. But broke a light, broke a bumper, it's no big deal. Second stage, brilliant. Absolutely superb. Made up for my in the first stage.
And they wouldn't be the only ones. Hamish Grant and Stuart Hurst would suffer with similar problems on the very same corner, causing cosmetic damage and just keeping an eye on the temperature gauge through the rest of the stage.
So Hamish, there's a wee bit of damage on the front of the car. What's been happening?
First stage, I don't know, halfway in, it was a right 5 into a hairpin right. The car just didn't want to turn. It's quite greasy in there, so the car just didn't want to turn. We just hit the bank, you know. So that's us. Tied.
Mechanically, there's no damage.
No, it seems to be fine. I kept my eye on the temperature and whatnot. The rest of the stage and everything seemed to be fine. So I knew there was a spotlight off because it was shining in different directions. So tie that back on at service.
So with just 2 stages complete, let's take a look at the results so far.
So John MACCRONE leads the way after the opening stages, 19 seconds of an advantage over Duffy, but there were still plenty more miles to go.
On to the second half of the night, and there would be no change at the top. John MACCRONE and Stuart Loudon continue to lead and extend the advantage in that place to 45 seconds.
We've had a clean, kind of safe run on all the stages and it's worked out fine. Got a slight problem with the clutch. We're quite lucky to make it here without the clutch. So the boys will change the clutch overnight and that'll be fine, but it's just it's not changing down gear very well. But no, it's fine. It's been a good night and we've enjoyed it more than anything. So I think the rain's coming tomorrow, so that could make things interesting, but no, fine, happy days.
Tyre choice would be what held Callum and Ian Duffy back this evening. The car was going well overall, but they would have to look at what to put on it tomorrow to avoid the tyres wearing as fast as they had on the evening stages.
It's just been a mixed day, really, you know. I don't have made so many bad tyre choices my whole life. That was another really bad one there. Went out in softs and they were knackered after 4 miles, so hit the last 14 miles and totally just rubbish. So bad tyre choices. The car is going a lot better now, so tomorrow's another day.
Things would still be going well for Lewis Gallagher and Sam Bould, although they hadn't been looking at the times, just driving their own pace, which was good enough to hold on to 3rd place.
Well, Lewis, you're flying tonight. You're sitting 3rd overall at the end of leg 1. Are you happy?
I didn't know that, but I'm now. Well, that sounds pretty good now. Yeah, very happy. So all improvements done to the car last year seems to be paying off now. So
I take it everything's going fine for you?
So far, absolutely no problems yet. So long way to go, enough. So
there would be improvements for Jonathan Mounsey and Richard Wardle in these stages. They felt they were getting the most out of the car as they moved their way up the results into 4th.
The car's gone well. We've got the most out of this machinery and I'm happy with that. So yeah, it's been a fair day today, so good last stage, enjoyed that.
And comfortable going into tomorrow?
Yeah, because I mean today we thought we were out when it broke this morning, so tonight's been a real bonus, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Yeah.
The first stages hadn't gone so well for David Bogie and Kevin Ray, but a tyre change in service gave them a much-needed increase in pace. They make the move up to 5th place now and lead the rear-wheel drive crews at the end of day 1.
Yeah, a lot happier now. We're onto a better tyre now, so yeah, I think it's certainly a huge improvement from where we started today. So I think there's more to come from the tyres and myself, but enjoying it now.
And tomorrow it's like a completely different rally with it being daylight as well.
Yeah, well, it'll give us a fighting chance, of course, daylight, you know, and hopefully the weather's kind to us. If it's dry, you know, we'll be able to get the traction down. So yeah, a lot happier and certainly driving within myself. So long way to go.
James MacGillivray and Ian Fraser were happy to reach the end of leg 1 and do so in 6th place overall. But with the next loop in the daytime, they felt that they may lose some of the advantage the night stages brought them.
Well, James, that's us finished for leg 1. Are you happy with where you're sitting now?
Yeah, it's fine. Absolutely. We got to the end of tonight, and that's what we wanted. So, yep.
Looking forward to tomorrow now?
Not really. No, I'd rather the Dar, but yeah, that's what it is.
Unfortunately, we would lose Tristan Pye and Andrew Faulkner from the results in stage 5 when the new car suffers engine problems. Derek McGeehan and Arthur Kieran slipped down the times a little into 7th place. There was nothing wrong, just looking forward to getting the car out in the daylight and levelling the playing field a little over the local knowledge.
Well, Derek, that's leg 1 over. Are you happy?
I'm pleased to get around the night. No drama's always going well, so...
Feeling confident going into tomorrow now?
Well, I'm looking forward to getting a run at the boys in the daylight now. The dark's very special for the residents here. They can go a lot bit harder now, but looking forward to the daylight stages tomorrow.
After an earlier collision with the wall, Shaun Sinclair and Neil Shanks were starting to get the time back again, moving up to 8th place now and pushing hard again.
Well, Shaun, last time we spoke to you, you'd had a few problems. Has everything been fine since?
Yep, car's going fine. The boys fixed it. Changed the steering arm and bits and pieces, and picking up the pace now.
So the last few stages have been okay?
Yep. Maybe sleeping a wee bit, but I'm okay.
Stephen Thompson and David Crosby gain a place in these stages, but the appearance of the battery light would cause a scare in one of the stages and would need looking at overnight.
So Stephen, end of leg 1, are you happy?
Yeah, battery light come on before Derviga, so we've driven 12 miles with power steering off, lights off, so I'm pretty achy, but no, we're here, so good.
You'll be knackered?
Yeah.
So a few adjustments to make going into tomorrow?
Hopefully trying to repair this alternator and see, I don't know where we're sitting, but we're 10th at service.
And we see a new face rounding out the top 10 as Matt TARBUTT and Geoff HAIGH take that place, all going well apart from a couple of small issues with the tyres.
That was great, that. We've just had to super glue 2 tyres back together, literally.
But what happened?
We don't know, we must have hit something and torn some tyres, so a little super glue out and a bit of tank tape and away we went again.
Paul McKinnon and Daniel Barrett were fighting back from their stage 1 incident, setting fastest times all evening to the end of the day, with 12th place overall, a great comeback so far.
Flat right in over crest 50, crest 5 left plus in, crest 5 left plus in, into crest and flat right in over crest and 6 left in over jump carry.
In some of the classes outside the top 10, it would be 2nd place in Class C for Doug Weir and Linda Brown, their first time out in the car since this event last year, so things were going well.
Well, Doug, you've been setting brilliant times this evening. Are you happy with where you're sitting now?
Yeah, no, the car seems to be going fine, and the roads are a lot drier now, so it's a lot getting back into the rhythm. It's a year since I last competed.
Fergus Barlow and Alistair MACCRONE make a great start in Class B, leading the way there with a good advantage. The setup of the car a lot better after some work in service.
Left over crest jump 30, middle over crest jump and left 3 over crest jump 40.
That's us at the end of leg 1.
Yeah.
Who have you got on this evening?
Really good. I think I was a bit disheartened earlier on after the second stage there. We had a wrong setting. She was actually too soft. And we stiffened that up, and a massive difference. It was like driving a totally new car.
So we got a good push up Screedon and Greeben there, and then through the Glen it was a good test. That was a really long stage at 19 miles. Really enjoyed it, so no, happy enough with how the night's gone.
Ross Marshall and Dave Robson felt they lost a little time running the wrong tyres for the longer stages, but things were still going well with third place in Class C, 25 seconds back from WEIR up ahead.
Well, Ross, there's been a lot of stage miles since we last seen you. Talk us through what's been happening.
The two short stages, Scriven and Gribben, were really good. We had a right good run through them. On a softer tyre on the front, and we kept it to go into the long one. Probably should have changed it, but we just took a gamble. It didn't quite pay off, so maybe lost a wee bit of time on the long one. But no, it was a tough first night, so glad we're still here.
And have you got many changes going into tomorrow?
The boots, depending on the weather. So, but apart from that, car's great.
Apart from the shakedown, this evening stage would be the first time in the car for Alec Brown and Robbie McCallum. They were happy enough and lying second in Class B. And third in the class behind Brown would be Mark and Andrew Constantine. They had a few issues in the earlier stages with the suspension setup, but things were back on track now.
That's us at the end of leg one. How's it been for you?
Yeah, not too bad. We speeded up over them last three and enjoyed them, so yeah, it was good fun.
Stuart Dodds and Robin Neal had decided to take it easy on day one and push in the daylight of day two, a plan which must have been working well as the pair led the way in Class A. They would be in a close battle with James Hall and Caroline Lodge, just 17 seconds back from the class lead in second at this stage. And it will be close in third place too, with Darren Thompson and Larry Higton lying a further 5 seconds back in the class, the top of which was separated by just 22 seconds in total. In Class H, it would be the lead for Martin Healer and Peter Thomas as they end the day with a good advantage in that class. Sadly, there would be problems for Eddie O'Donnell and Brian Hodgson, the gearbox breaking in the final stage this evening. They do make it through in second gear, but lose a lot of time and drop to second in class. And for Paul Darlington and Peter Lumsden, it will be third in that class, a further 2 minutes back from O'Donnell. So, at the end of a very tricky day one, the results at the top look like this.
Day 2 starts with a rundown to the stages in the south. Our ton may only be short, but it could still change the leaderboard.
On to day 2, the first of the daylight stages, and unfortunately, the return of the rain. But that didn't change the lead. John McCrone and Stuart Loudon continue to extend the advantage at the top to 53 seconds now.
So John, that's 6 stages done so far this morning. You're setting brilliant times. Is everything going okay?
It's going okay. It's really, really tricky out there. It's very slippy, and we're essentially on a slick, so it's a bit kind of harem-scarum in the car. The car is moving about a lot, which is good fun, but I don't think it's very fast. So I wouldn't be surprised if Callum's knocked a wee bit of time out of us in them 3, but we're still going anyway, so it's good too.
Callum and Ian Duffy were still finding the conditions tricky. They were losing a little time to the lead, but it was still manageable at the moment. They needed to get to service and see what they could do to gain back some time.
So Callum, it's really tricky conditions out there now. How's it going for you?
Yeah, you've just got to watch what you're doing in there. It's so easy to go off. Lots of shiny tar, you know, and the locks wasn't too bad, and like these two here, lots of shiny tar on them and just treacherous. It wouldn't matter what tyre you'd on, we'd be struggling in there, so happy to get a service.
The rain would be causing problems for many and plenty of scary moments for the rest. And it would be no different for Lewis Gallagher and Sam Bould. They keep it tidy through this morning stage to remain third and happy to reach this stage in the event.
3 left and 3 right and 4 left over crest. 100, 3 right. 80, arm call, caution, sudden tight 6 right over crest. and long 5 left. Caution, 2 left over jump and 2 right. Crest, 4 left, 5 left, care.
So Lewis, are you still happy with how things are going this morning?
Yeah, it's very, very wet. There's quite a lot of kind of torques here coming that last stage, but we're still here anyway, so we'll keep going now.
There would be a place gained in this loop for David Bogie and Kevin Ray. Happy with the pace, but finding it difficult to get the power down on the slippery conditions.
So David, a big change in weather from last night, but you're sitting very well overall. Are you happy?
Yeah, happy, just very difficult. It's on in days like this I would love my Skoda back, but enjoyable, but just very, very difficult.
Jonathan Mounsey and Richard Wardle were still going strong, but plenty of close calls in that stage would cause them to lose the rhythm a little and slip down to 5th, just 3 seconds back from bogey.
Jonathan, it's very slippy out there today. How's it going?
Awesome. We just had a whole rally's worth of moments in one stage. Serious. Brilliant though. Absolutely brilliant. That's why we do it.
Sadly for Paul McKinnon, it would be more than a close call. He goes off in the early stages after such a good comeback last night. And it would be the end of the road for James MacGillivray and Ian Fraser when they break a drive shaft in stage 11 and are unable to continue. Derek McGeehan and Arthur Kierans were still going at a good pace. The accident of McKinnon would of course put them off a little, but they were still going well in 6th place.
So Derek, you're going very well this morning. How's it been?
This morning wasn't too bad. A bit of an accident of Paul McKinnon sort of upset everybody a wee bit just, but it's been good. It's very tricky there now in the wet, but still enjoyable in a good few places.
Sean Sinclair and Neil Shanks wanted to push through the daylight stages. Not fans of the dark, they get some good times in to lie in 7th place for now.
So Sean, it's very changeable conditions out there. How's everything going?
Okay, very good. Okay, I think. Not sure.
There's 3 stages left for this leg and then you're into the evening.
Aye, I think, but I need to push through the day because the darkness does slow me up a wee bit, so we're doing what we can do, but we're not losing any ground, but we're not gaining much ahead of us, I don't think, but we're pushing.
A slightly slower start to the day for John Cope and Clive Molyneux. The setup of the car wasn't giving them the confidence they needed, but with things changed in service, they were back up to speed now in 8th.
Well John, how's this morning's stages been for you?
To begin with, it wasn't very good. We softened the car quite substantially and it's made quite a bit of difference, so yeah, it's these last couple of stages, especially when we came over the locks, that was a good stage, so quite enjoying it now.
And there would be a place gained for Matt Tarbutt and Geoff Haigh in this loop as they struggle with a series of wrong tyre choices this morning, stopping them gaining any more time overall.
How's it been for you this morning?
Slipping. Yeah, we've been on slicks all morning, so we've just swapped for an inter to come over this last loop, and I think we're going to have to go for a wet. It's not happy, but same for everyone.
Rounding up the top 10 now were Pete Gibson and Chris Dodds, enjoying themselves and the pace increasing as the event went on.
Well Pete, you're smiling, that's a good start.
Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed that last one. Obviously all the stages are slippy, and the Michnish really struggled. Calgary, that last one, not the best, but that one was good. I don't know why. And I don't usually like the hill road. The car seemed to work okay, and we all seemed to flow. So yeah, all right.
So midway through the daytime stages, the results at the top look like this.
No change at the top then, apart from the advantage MACCRONE leads over Duffy, with Gallagher leading the best of the rest in 3rd. After service, it would be a repeat of the previous 3 stages and a final chance to push in the daylight before the final leg in the dark.
Back to that battle for the lead, and there would once again be no change for John McCrone and Stuart Loudon. They still led the way, but the advantage had been cut down to 36 seconds now.
Well John, that's us at the end of leg 2. Do you think you've got a comfortable lead going into tonight?
It's never comfortable when Callum Duffy's behind you, to be honest, but no, we had a safer run in that loop. We kind of had to back off quite a bit. The water is bad, it's really bad. There's a lot of standing water, so we were in full wets that time and just had to be a bit more sensible, but we're enjoying it, it's good.
So for the first time this weekend, Callum and Ian Duffy were pulling back some time and closing in on the lead, happy with the setup and tyres in this loop and ready to push in the final leg of the event.
So Callum, that's leg 2 over. Are you happy going into tonight?
Yeah, pretty happy with that. Changed our tyres for that loop, so yeah, the car's working really nice. So horrible conditions to be fair, but the car's doing really well. Really happy.
With the top 2 running away in their own fight, it will be left to Lewis Gallagher and Sam Bould to remain in that 3rd place, but they didn't have as much of a gap behind as they did ahead.
Lewis, it looks like it could be drying up going into tonight. How are you feeling?
Fine, yeah, I'm getting used to different settings now from the last time, so hopefully it dries up. It doesn't look like it now, but hopefully it'll be better if it's dry. So
Gallagher would be in a fight now to keep hold of that podium place from the advancing David Bogie and Kevin Ray. Still struggling for traction, but happy to be within 19 seconds of that podium at the end of this loop.
David, how did you get on in that loop compared to earlier?
It's very, very wet now, so on a full wet tyre, but yeah, just struggling for traction. But yeah, good, we're still here and we've kept out of trouble. We've not put a foot wrong yet, so you know, looking forward to tonight.
The times were still good for Jonathan Mounsey and Richard Wardle. They end this loop in 5th, but they also ended with a few problems to look at, which would unfortunately end their event before the start of the next leg. The wet conditions didn't seem to bother Derek McGeehan and Arthur Kieran's. They actually go faster in this loop than the previous one and end the daytime stages with 6th place.
Well, Derek, it's looking as though the weather might change yet again. How did you get on in there?
Oh, it's wetter again, there's no doubt, but I'm good, enjoyed that there. It's a really good run that stage there compared to earlier, but we got actually quicker in the wet there, so I'm really enjoying it.
Unfortunately, any push that Shaun Sinclair and Neil Shanks had planned was hampered on these stages when they broke a drive shaft. They don't lose a lot of time though and end the afternoon with 7th.
Shaun, how did that loop of stages go compared to this morning?
With a broken drive shaft, we ran through the last 2 stages. We've dropped a bit of time, but it's not terminal, I don't think, so if we can nurse her back to Tobermory, we might be back out tonight to play.
Unfortunately for John Cope and Clive Molyneux, a puncture would push them out of the top 10. The pair would decide to call it a day, with the time unlikely to be gained back in the final stages.
Well, John, how are you getting on now?
I want to go home. Just got a puncture. So that's us done. Dropped about 3 minutes, I think, so I'm not going to fight for 14th overall. I'll probably go home.
Matt Tarbutt and Geoff Haigh continue their good run to lie in 8th place now. They go a lot better in this loop now. Their stages were consistently wet and not patchy.
Well, it's still wet in the stages. How did you get on this time?
A lot better. We've gone onto a wet now, so we've got a bit more feel with the car and just trying to keep it smooth now and get through. That's day 2 out of the way. Let's see what happens tonight.
Some better tyre choices and increased stage times mean a step up into 9th place now for John Rintoul and Ross Hind. The pair happy with how things were going now.
Well, that's leg 2 complete. 1 leg left.
Better tyre choice that time, so it's good. Nice wet tyres, confident grip. So it was good, wee bit extra speed.
And it would still be Pete Gibson and Chris Dodds rounding out the top 10 at this stage, happy with how things were now going.
Well, Pete, at the end of the last loop, you were sitting 10th overall. Things must be going really well.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it somehow, but I didn't feel like it was particularly fast on those last 3. But then it's difficult to judge your pace because everybody's having problems and the cars, like, everybody's on the wrong tyres and everything else. So I'm really happy just to be at the end of leg 2. We'll go back and check the car and take stock and see what we need to do tonight.
Another look at some of the classes outside the top 10, and the loss of Stephen Thompson from the class lead means that Doug Weir and Linda Brown now have the lead in Class C.
Well, Dick, how did you get on in that loop there?
No problems really. It's just the weather. It's like rain, quite heavy 1 minute, and then not so heavy the next. You don't know how much grip there is. It's quite proper mull, really tricky.
As HAIGH and Sally Peacock would end the afternoon with second place in that class, 50 seconds back from WEIR.
Oh, well, how are you getting on this morning?
Oh, mint. Lovely and slippery and... yeah.
Enjoying it?
We're still laughing.
And we would see Darren Moon and Mike Yates step up to take third in the class at this stage, 23 seconds back from HAIGH.
What tyre choice did you go for at that time?
We went on full wets, but we still had a huge moment. But we're here, and that's it now.
What happened?
We just aquaplaned on a long crest down to a bridge just off at Locks. It was, yeah. We're here. I need to slow down a bit, I think.
Stuart Dodds and Robin Neal would continue to lead the way in Class A, but more importantly, they start to move up the overall results as well.
Our brakes were stuck on there, but it was a brilliant stage, fastest we've been through it, but we better go. Cheers.
There would be change in Class B. Fergus, Barlow and ALASDAIR MACCRONE suffer fuel problems in the earlier stages and unfortunately move down the results and into third in the class.
Well, Fergus, we've been hearing you've been having a few problems today. What's been happening?
That last run through there, I think we had a bit of a problem. We thought it was fuel, but it was more the fuel pump. So we actually stopped in stage, made some small repairs and got it going again. So we're happy to still be in the rally. But as for that run, really enjoyed it. I started chucking it down at the end there, just big aquaplanes, so it was just a case of getting through.
So that would mean a new leader. And Mark and Andrew Constantine take advantage of the problems to lead the way in the class now by just over a minute.
Well, Mark, are you still happy it's raining?
Yeah. Well, you can stop now because we're finished. But no, yeah, we had a good run. We backed off a little bit on that loop. About 5 seconds a stage slower than our first time through, so but we just didn't want to throw it off. So, but yeah, good. Car's working perfect, so a lot better than it was last night. We were struggling last night with it with the rear suspension, but we think we've got it sorted out now. So yeah, it's going well.
They would lead the way over Alec Brown and Robin McCallum, who are having their share of problems like many others.
Well, Alec, it's still really slippy out there. How are you getting on?
Yeah, it is. Over the locks there, the window was steaming up, so we couldn't see anything, so we just had to back right off. Got to the end of the stage, got a bar of soap, cured that. But we're having big bother with grip just now. I don't know if everyone else is having the same problem, but standing water's just, we're not clearing it, so I don't know what to do now.
Still no change for James Hall and Caroline Lodge as they remain second in Class A, a little way behind the leaders up ahead.
How have you got on in that last loop of stages?
Yeah, it's been good in there, but we've just had the wrong tyres on. A lot of understeer, not ideal. Should have had wets on, but we'll see how we go tonight, and hopefully we'll get the right choices and make up some more places. But overall, a good day.
And it would be a little further back to third in class for Chris and Heidi Woodcock. Their clutch problems on day one hadn't helped their times. No change in Class H. Martin Healer and Peter Thomas continued to lead the way there, but the gap was getting smaller. Eddie O'Donnell and Brian Hodgson would be gaining time on the leaders, but they were having some issues with the wipers, which were now being controlled with a piece of rope through the windows.
Well, Eddie, explain what's going on here.
I don't know, it's pretty technical. Myself and the wife have got it in the bedroom. It works quite well. No, there's some problems. We're not sure if it's the switch or the wiper motor, but these wiper motors are pretty rare, so if there's any Mark ones in Mull, watch out, we're coming to raid you tonight.
Paul Darlington and Peter Lumsden continue to hold their place going into the final night stages. So with the daytime stages complete, the results going into the final leg of the event look like this.
So the gap closes a little, Duffy gaining a little time on MACCRONE, but with 46 miles left to go, it was all still to play for. 4 more stages await the crews in the final evening, starting with almost 22 miles of Calgary Bay and Loch Tooth.
On to the final night then, and a look at how the classes and overall results were decided. There would be no change to third place in Class H. Paul Darlington and Peter Lumsden would hold on to that place to the finish of the event. There would be a change to Class A as we lose Stuart Dodds from the lead of the class, meaning it's a step up to third for George Winder and Mike Baird. Sadly for Martin Healer and Peter Thomas, they were unable to keep hold of the Class H lead, settling for second place at the end of the event. That, of course, means that for Eddie O'Donnell and Brian Hodgson, it would be the Class H win. The event certainly hadn't been easy, making it through the many problems to take that class win. The changes in Class A mean that it's second in the class for Chris and Heidi Woodcock. Their clutch problems probably not making a difference to that result this weekend. Alec Brown and Robbie McCallum would unfortunately slip back down a place to third in Class B in the final stages of the event. A good result though nonetheless. And it would be a great end to the event for James Hall and Caroline Lodge. They take the Class A win. The clutch starting to go in the final stages would cause them to back off a little to get to the finish. Unfortunately for Mark and Andrew Constantine, the lead in Class B would turn back to second in the final stages. Still a great result after a relatively clean and trouble-free run. But taking the Class B win this weekend were Fergus Barlow and Alistair MacCrone. The win looked in doubt with their earlier problems, but they took the win by just 23 seconds. Despite a few scary moments during the weekend, it will be third in Class C for Darren Moon and Mike Yates, the pair also taking 14th overall with that result. And the final stages see a move up to second in the class for Ian Chadwick and Johnny Bould. Happy with how things had gone this weekend, and another great trip to Mull for the pair. On to the top 10, and we will see plenty of change. John and Martin Cressy ending the event, rounding out that top 10. They would have gained the place lost by Pete Gibson and Chris Dodds, the pair off the road in these stages, putting an end to their good run. John Rintoul and Ross Hind would survive a scary moment when the lights cut out at over 100 miles an hour. They back off a little after that and end the event with 9th. For Chris Haigh and Sally Peacock, it will be the Class C win. They finished the event inside the top 10 with 8th place overall. After going off the road on day one, Donnie MacDonald and Ashley Will would be playing catch-up. They reached the end of the event with 7th place overall, a result they probably never expected after their crash on stage 1. It would also be a good last-minute move up the results for Alan Gardiner and Jane Nichol. They come through the final day to take 6th place overall and leading rear-wheel drive. That had been an honour they were fighting for with David Bogie and Kevin Ray. But sadly, that pair would go off the road and end their fantastic debut on this event. No problems in the final stages for Matt Tarbutt and Geoff Haigh, which means they end the event with 5th place overall in the Subaru. There would be some big changes to the results at the top though. We lose Lewis Gallagher and Sam Bould in this final loop when mechanical issues sidelined the pair. Sean Sinclair and Neil Shanks couldn't have hoped for a better result after remodelling the front of the car in the wall on stage 1. They reached the end of the event with 4th place overall. And it would be third time lucky for Derek McGeehan and Arthur Kierans as they take 3rd place on the event, finally getting to the finish and with a great result too. The battle at the top would be close going into the final stages. A broken drive shaft for John MacCrone would mean some lost time, allowing Callum and Ian Duffy to catch up and go into the final stage with just 18 seconds between them. A big ask, but with 15 miles of the final stage, they still had to try. Sadly for Duffy, it wasn't to be. The entire weekend coming down to just 10 seconds difference at the finish, but a well-deserved and fitting victory for MacCrone this weekend. So, before we chat to the crews at the finish, here's a reminder of the final results.
Well done, can see how much this means to you. Well done this weekend.
Yeah, it's a massive win. It's kind of the best we could have hoped for, isn't it? The best way to respond, so I'm very happy.
It's so fitting and everyone's so proud of you, so well done.
Thank you. No, it's been good. It's been a tricky weekend. It's been probably one of the hardest Mull rallies I've done in terms of weather conditions. So we've used just about every DMAC tyre compound there is, and they've all worked perfectly. So no, it's been good. And tonight the drama with the drive shaft and just trying to have to nurse her home has been a lot of fun. But we're here and happy days.
Well done. So Callum, what an eventful rally, second overall. You must be pleased with that.
Absolutely, yeah. We had a go in the last stage there, you know, and I mean, just that's all we could do basically. But to have a whole weekend's race in them conditions and to be only come down to 10 seconds, it's a tribute to the effort we put in basically, you know, and just well done to John, you know. It was really good, very good drive, and it's not easy to manage a lead, you know, and he did a great job of that.
Well, you said to us on Friday night, you've been here twice, you've never finished. Third time lucky and third overall. You must be delighted.
Definitely delighted to finish the event. There was one thing, and getting third overall was definitely the icing on the cake for me. Misfortune of a couple of other guys there, but sure, hey, that's rallying, so the way it goes, but thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's it from us here at the Beatsons Building Supply Mull Rally 2016. John MACCRONE takes his win, which is a victory for him and Stuart Loudon 2 times now. Join us next year for more action.